The Australian dream is often sold as a singular image of a backyard and a barbecue, but the reality is a complex staircase where each step changes your zip code, your stress levels, and even the way you view a cup of coffee. At the very base of this ladder, life is a delicate balancing act of survival. You are likely one of the thousands living in a shared rental in a suburb like Footscray, Parramatta, or Fortitude Valley, where the local train station is your lifeline. Your financial life is measured in the gap, the narrow space between your paycheck and your bills. A night out isn't a spontaneous decision. It's a calculated move that might mean skipping the gym membership that month. You've mastered the art of finding the reduced to clear stickers at Woolworths, and your social life revolves around public parks, coastal walks, and the occasional $15 banh mi. Security feels like a distant luxury, and the idea of owning property feels less like a goal and more like a myth. You are acutely aware of the price of electricity and the cost of a dental checkup, often deferring long-term health or maintenance just to keep the car registered. As you climb into the aspiring professional bracket, earning into the low six figures, the pressure changes shape. You aren't worried about your next meal, but you are obsessed with your next move. You've likely managed to secure a small apartment or a townhouse further out from the city center, perhaps in the outer rings of Melbourne or Brisbane. Your life is dominated by the big four: the mortgage, the car loan, the HECS debt, and the rising cost of utilities. You drive a reliable Japanese hatchback or a base model European car, and your weekends are a mix of DIY home improvements and brunch at the local cafe, where a $25 avocado toast is your primary indulgence. You are the backbone of the economy, working 45 hours a week to fund a lifestyle that feels comfortable but fragile. One major interest rate hike or a corporate restructure could pull the rug out from under you, keeping you firmly tethered to the 9-to-5 grind and the constant hum of lifestyle creep, where every pay rise is immediately swallowed by a slightly better rental or a slightly newer car. The shift into the established wealth category, where household income clears $350,000 and net worth nears the 5 million mark, is where the Australian experience becomes noticeably smoother. At this level, you've stopped looking at the price of fuel or the cost of a flight to Bali. You live in a leafy, established suburb with wide streets and heritage overlays. Think suburbs like Paddington, Subiaco, or Hawthorne. Your children don't go to the local high school. They are enrolled in private institutions where the networking is just as important as the curriculum. You have a city car and a weekend car, likely a high-end German SUV for trips to a holiday rental in the Southern Highlands or the Margaret River region. You've moved past simple saving and into aggressive investing, shares, commercial property, and self-managed super funds. You aren't just working for a salary anymore, you are building a legacy. The stress here isn't about paying the bills, it's about the complexity of managing what you've built and ensuring your children maintain the same social standing. As you reach the high net worth tier with assets between $10 and $30 million, the physical boundaries of your life expand. You no longer worry about the commute because you likely own a significant stake in the company or run a private equity firm that allows you to work on your own terms. Your primary residence is a statement piece, perhaps a renovated Victorian mansion or a minimalist architectural marvel with views of the water. You don't just go on holiday, you have a second or third home in places like Port Douglas or a luxury apartment in the Gold Coast for the winter months. Your wardrobe is curated, your wine cellar is stocked with investment-grade bottles, and your social life involves charity galas and exclusive club memberships. You have reached a level of insulation where the daily fluctuations of the economy are an intellectual exercise rather than a personal threat. At the summit, the ultra-elite tier, with a net worth exceeding $50 million, life in Australia is a completely different country. You don't live in a suburb, you live in an enclave. Your home is a fortress of glass and sandstone overlooking Sydney Harbour or the Swan River, featuring a private jetty, a 10-car garage, and a dedicated staff to keep it running. Your time is your most guarded asset, protected by personal assistants, household managers, and private drivers. You don't book commercial flights, you check the availability of your private charter or your own jet. Your social circle is a revolving door of CEOs, politicians, and global industry titans. At this level, the concept of cost has been replaced by value. You don't buy things, you acquire assets. Your influence extends into the fabric of the nation. Philanthropy becomes your primary occupation, and your name is etched into the wings of art galleries, hospital wards, or university halls. You might own a cattle station in the Northern Territory the size of a small European country, or a vineyard in the Barossa that produces wine you never intend to sell. The logistical friction of life, traffic, queues, administrative hurdles, simply cease to exist for you. At this level, the cost of living crisis is something you read about in the financial papers, a distant reality for a population living a version of Australia that you have long since transcended. Wealth here isn't about buying things, it's about the total removal of friction from existence and the ability to shape the world around you to fit your vision of what the Australian dream should be. From the shared house in the suburbs to the mansion on the harbour, the journey is defined not just by what you can afford, but by how much of your time you truly own.